retired U.S. Army Lieutenant General, currently the Pershing Chair in Strategic Studies at the Center for European Policy Analysis. Ben, good to have you. Of course, the question has been through this. It's not necessarily a sure thing that Moscow will be able to take the entirety of the Donbass, but if that does happen, is Russia likely to stop there?
Well, let me say, I was impressed with Ubai's analysis just then. He has a good sense of what's happening and there on the ground. No, I don't believe that the Kremlin will stop just because they will have achieved something here. But that could, because this was not their goal. Their goal, of course, is the ultimate destruction of Ukraine as a state and even the idea of Ukraine as a state. But put this in context, they've been at this now for 4 months with everything they've got, all the advantages, and they still are struggling just to get individual towns in eastern Ukraine, and they control less than a quarter of Ukraine. And I think the tide is going to turn here over the next 3 or 4 weeks as the Ukrainians begin to really effectively employ in quantity things such as HIMARS or the German Panzerhaubitze or the Caesar. All these systems will begin to take effect against Russian Federation forces. I think we're going to start seeing a difference in the next 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah, and when you mention that, I mean, the losses that Russia has suffered, I mean, its army has taken an absolute pounding. And even though we see some gains in the east, essentially that map hasn't changed very much for many, many weeks of this war. It's difficult to see how the Russian army can keep this up and go farther if it does take the Donbass and then controls that and Crimea, or that somebody doesn't stop Putin one way or another from within his inner circle.
Yeah, Michelle, I think you're exactly right. That map really has not changed a whole lot. And so the Russian capacity to continue going, the problem with my analysis is that I don't know how much conventional artillery ammunition they actually have. What did they start with? How much more do they have? They certainly seem to have endless amounts of that, but we know that they are running low on the so-called precision weapons, those kinds of things. They cannot replenish that because of sanctions that stop them from manufacturing new ones. So that if we continue doing what we said we're going to do, which is provide Ukraine the long-range capabilities to strike at the Russian Federation artillery and rockets, and then especially, as you pointed out earlier, these depots deeper inside Russia, that begins to take an effect. They have much more significant manpower problems than the Ukrainians do, actually, and they're reluctant so far, it seems, to actually mobilize the whole nation, because then that would give lie to what's going on there.
All right, Ben Hodges, excellent to have you on the show. Thanks very much.
Thanks for the privilege.